News headlines in association with
Tonight on Look Up News, 9 police officers accused of killing President Ruto's poll experts to be detained for 3 more days.
Thank you.
So no handing over, they are both yours.
Newly appointed CS for Health, Susan Nahumicha, takes over from Mutahi Kagwe.
Mama ameenda pale duka kununua chumvi, ametoa ushuru. Sukari, ametoa ushuru. Umekuja Coca-Cola, ametoa ushuru. Umenunua mkate, ushuru kubwa.
In all too familiar lines, RAILA slams Ruto's government over tax proposals.
Yippee! Kamata floating at 349k. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10k cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
The 9 police officers accused of killing 2 Indians and their driver will be detained for 3 more days until Thursday, when the court will rule on whether the state will be allowed to hold them for 30 days or not. This is after the court granted the prosecution 3 days to file their response to the evidence that has been produced by the accused persons.
The 9 Special Service Unit officers appeared in court for the 3rd time. The state drew a miscellaneous application filed at Kahawa Law Court before Chief Magistrate Diana Muchache argued that more time is needed to subject the suspect to a DNA test, as well as to probe the confiscated mobile phones. The state also asked for more time to go through the new affidavits filed by the suspect. Ms. Muchache said that given on how bulky the document filed as the replying affidavit by the defense is, there was a need for more time to prepare for detailed replying affidavit to that effect.
However, 7 days is too many in my view. The prosecution had granted only 3 days to file and serve their responses.
The 9 police officers, through their lawyers, maintained that the case is politically sponsored, as they opposed the statement by the prosecution that the 9 suspects were at Mombasa Road when the 2 Indian nationals and their driver were abducted.
That we raised in the replying affidavit that has occasioned these are 13 reasons. 1. The state says all the 9 people were on Mombasa Road during the abduction. We have produced evidence that not all of them were in Mombasa Road. The second respondent was with his wife at home, and we have raised a defense of an alibi. So the state found itself completely flat-footed, alleging that all the 9 people were on Mombasa Road.
Magistrate Muchache refused to release the suspect on a bond, stating that they will remain behind bars until on Thursday this week, when the court will decide on whether to release them on a bail or not.
So long as they are put on bail, on bond. As we have no problem, the state's taking their sweet time. Let them be entered on bail, bond.
Responses. Secondly, bail is denied at the moment. The respondents shall remain in custody until when this matter is heard and determined.
The court proceedings will continue on Thursday, that is after the prosecution side has gone through the affidavit filed by the respondents. Reporting for Lookuptv from Kahawa Law Court in Nairobi County, my name is Shadrach Kareria.
ODM leader Raila Odinga has seen no value at all in the steps taken by the government to charge more taxes on Kenyans who are currently facing economic instability. Speaking at a funeral ceremony of the late mother to Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barasa, RAILA said devolution is mandatory for Kenya's growth and the current tax regime is way too heavy for Kenyans to bear.
The funeral home of the late mother to Kakamega Governor Fernandez Barasa at Muhoroni Primary School in Mumias West constituency was this Sunday the meeting point to the ODM party under its flag bearer, Raila Odinga, and his allies. Odinga took to stage to oppose the move by the Kenya Kwanza government to impose more taxes to Kenyans, having in mind the economic tussle and the poor situation they bear.
Hawezi kusema ati atabagua Kakamega kwa sababu nyinyi mlipiga kura kwa Azimio, apeleke huko pande ya bonde la Ufa, azii huko pale bana walipata kura. Hapana. Maana yako ushuru wanarogota kila mahali. Watu wa Kakamega wanatoa ushuru kila siku. Mama ameenda pale duka kununua chumvi, ametoa ushuru. Sukari, ametoa ushuru. Umekuja Coca-Cola, umetoa ushuru. Umenunua mkate, ushuru kubwa. Umenunua mafuta, umetoa ushuru.
In addition, Odinga stated that the implication of the high taxation will result to underdevelopment of the country if the promises made will not be met.
Siku bunge hapa chini. Siku mawaziri hapa chini. Nyingine iko pale juu, ama sivyo? Cooperation between the national and county government is a must. It is inside the constitution. You don't have to be told to cooperate.
However, some of the allied leaders who attended the function demanded respect from Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to their boss in his line of leadership.
Oh, tunalaumu Raila. Watu wa Mumias mnakubali haya? We want the president and your government to deliver on your promises.
Waache kulialia Uhuru alifanya hii, Raila alifanya hii. You are the people now who have the responsibility. Lakini mukikosa, kama mwanza kukosa namna hii, we cannot look back. Sisi tuko na chuma ile ya zamani.
With the drastic effect of the drought that has resulted to a hunger crisis and climate change in different areas in the country, the leaders requested the government to take consideration and support the affected areas.
Hatutaki kuongea sana because we have seen. I want to answer governors in the affected areas wachukue msimamo. I would want them, if you really don't want to weaponize food distribution, invite ndugu Raila aje akaflag off chakula huko Garissa.
In the function, many have stated the good heart that Barasa's mom had. Even the man himself who invited his friends did not lack a word.
Na mimi kama gavana wenyu, mimi nitakuwa gavana wa kila mtu bila ubaguzi wowote.
Moses Okech, Lookuptv.
Apparently unfazed, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua today launched the Kenya Youth Employment and Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program, facilitated by the Kenya Private Sector Association, KEPSA.
In a bid to underscore the Kenya Kwanza manifesto in line with the hustler's promise, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua met with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance KEPSA as he pledges the government aims to digitize services to access markets regionally and globally in order to create youth employment in the country. Gachagua indicated that the president has delegated him to ensure that public sector aligns with the private sector for the growth of the Kenyan economy.
The work of the public sector is to be supportive and to facilitate the private sector. The public sector in our administration will not be a bottleneck. It will not be a hindrance to doing business. Their work is to ease business. Their work is to facilitate the private sector.
Gachagua indicated that the president has delegated him to ensure that the public sector aligns with the private sector for the growth of the Kenyan economy. Gachagua has notably stated that the private sectors should not look down upon the current administration, but instead strive to collaborate with the government in establishing entrepreneurial opportunities, since it is an administration that is concerned with the youth affairs.
So you had been poisoned against us. That will be against industry, we will be against enterprise, we will be killing big businesses. We are only thinking about the hustlers and ourselves. The RUTO administration is so focused on your issues. You wouldn't know our meetings with the president, private and public. 40% of his conversation revolves around the youth issue. We are so clear in our mind.
Gachagua at the same time indicated the government is open to criticism and correction as it continues to serve the people of Kenya, noting that it is working on sustainable solutions to stabilize the state's economy fair, to ensure affordable production, hence affordable standards of living for Kenyans.
As we want the truth, when we engage in that round table conference, CEO, please look at the president on the face and tell him, here you are off the mark. Here you are doing the right thing. Here you can change, and you'll take it positively.
Susan Jerry, Lookuptv.
Former National Assembly Majority Leader Amos Kimunya is apparently yet to start enjoying his retirement. The courts now say he was freed wrongly on a cash bail of 700,000 shillings regarding charges of fraudulent transfer of public land worth 60 million shillings to a private company.
Representative from Midlands as it is right now.
Mr. Monda, I am present appearing for the state. Yes, Monda.
We're going into a short break now. We'll come back with more news in a bit.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Get a chance to wake up as a tourist as you view Mount Kenya every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly one-year installments plan.
Leo kwa mara ya kwanza, mpenzi mtazamaji, tuko Githogoro Village ambapo mwanabiashara Carol anatekeleza kazi yake ya uzaji wa mawe.
President William Ruto's cabinet is officially on the job. They received keys to their respective ministries with a big promise for better service delivery as stated by the Kenya Kwanza government. Health Cabinet Secretary Dr. Susan Wafula officially took office and received a handover from Mutahi Kagwe, who was there before her at Afya House. And she has promised to work on the structures her predecessor put in place to better service delivery for Kenyans.
Hello. Barely a week after taking oath to office, President Ruto's cabinet has fully reported to their respective workstations, ready to serve Kenyans. While taking charge of the health ministry, Dr. Susan Wafula has acknowledged the efforts put in place by the former CS Mutahi Kagwe, vowing to continue the legacy of healing the nation.
I look forward to carrying on with the good things that you have done, putting more blocks on the foundation that you have laid, and delivering our people in the best way possible. I also note that there could be a small or few areas that we need to improve on, and therefore as I come in is to request the team on this table that the support that you have given to Senator Mutahi Kagwe, you transfer, and now we continue to work together to deliver on the things that we need to deliver to.
The health CS has also called on the ministry staff and heads to work together so as to improve on its performance.
I want to call upon my colleagues and to call upon everybody else within the ministry that as we land, as we are planted here for this season, let us make a difference. If it were not for the good things that Senator Mutahi Kagwe has done, he would be uncomfortable sitting in this room. So keep it from there and make a difference that at the end of our time, when it comes, we shall also look back and say the journey was worth trekking, and there'll be impact of what we'll have done.
On his side, former CS Mutahi Kagwe, known for his daily COVID-19 briefings and comics, has acknowledged the work put forth by his team to deliver the country, especially during the pandemic.
For me, it's really to welcome you and to say that it's been a personal, it's been my personal pleasure to work with you, the teams around this table, and others not here, others in the parastatals and others quasi-government organizations that we have been working with, that I have been working with. And I never felt that anything that we did was as a result of my personal input. It has always been as a result of we, not I.
Expressing confidence in the new regime, the outgoing health CS has assured Kenyans that they will continue experiencing better health services.
Karibu sana, Waziri, because of your experience, because in fact you are more experienced in this area than I was, you are more familiar with some of the long words that they were telling me about, which I did not understand. Because of those things, I'm sure that you will be very, very successful and you get a lot of support from the team.
Dr. Susan Wafula has today been given the mantle to run the ministry at a time when the country is battling post-COVID-19 effects and cholera outbreaks, among other health threats.
Thank you.
So no handing over, they are both yours.
Former Defense CS Eugene Omalwa also handed over the defense docket to former Garissa Town Member of Parliament Aden Duale to run the ministry. CS Simon Chelugui has also taken charge of the Ministry of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises at the NSSF building in Nairobi. Chelugui was given the mantle with former CS of Agriculture Peter Munya and Betty Maina, the former CS for Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development. Samia Dika, Lookuptv.
Mutahi Kagwe definitely has style, a good hand over there. Separately, the Kenya Internally Displaced Persons Organization, led by Peter Tenor, now wants governors to speed up relief programs in counties hard hit by drought to alleviate the continued suffering of millions of Kenyans, as well as expansion of disaster management kitties as part of the effort to curb drought.
With the statistics indicating that at least 4.1 million Kenyans are suffering from the effects of drought,
and the government putting measures in place to mitigate the plague. The chairperson of the internally displaced person, Peter Tena, is now urging county bosses in the south thrift regions to prioritize irrigation programs in high agricultural potential areas to help in fighting drought.
Magovernors hata nao wachangie sehemu fulani ya kusaidia national government kuweza kutenga rasilimali kadhaa ziweze kuwafikia wamama wetu wapate kuweka mkate na chakula kwa meza.
Speaking in Nakuru County, Tena indicated that millions of Kenyans are undergoing untold suffering in the face of prevailing drought, and there's need for concerted efforts by humanitarian agencies and the government to help those affected, noting that among those worst hit by the drought are women and children.
Isizingatiwe tu ati kusemekana Northeastern. Hapana. Naivasha kuko na njaa. Na sehemu zile nyingine ziko na njaa. Na mkumbuke njaa ni mbaya kwa sababu wale wa mama wetu ambao kila saa wanabeba hawa watoto na wao ndio wanawapikia. Hiyo stress saa hizi tunapoongea, it is like a national disaster. Hiyo stress ya njaa inafanya mpaka watu wauane katika nyumba.
Among the 23 counties battling drought in the country, most of them being counties in the Rift Valley region, where at least 80% of the area residents depend on farming. Tena urged the government to fast-track the survey of large tracts of arable land and speed the vetting program of beneficiaries to pave way for the resettlement of respective allottees to embark on food production on the parcels of land.
Tuna uhakika watu wetu wakipatiwa mashamba mapema wataweza kuanzisha ukulima ambao president wetu amezingatia. Na hiyo ni kumaanisha kuwa hii njaa imekuwa ikitajwa katika taifa letu ilakuwa jambo la kusaurika.
This comes even as Uasin Gishu Deputy Governor Engineer John Barrott has assured the residents that the county government will directly distribute the subsidized fertilizer to farmers in the planting season to stop brokers from exploiting farmers.
We will provide fertilizer in the next season. And this is a conversation that we will be having now in the next couple of weeks to see how best to manage the subsidized fertilizer, so that we will be dealing with the farmer directly. And in the process, cut out any of the brokers in between.
Ian Kitani, Lookuptv.
When you compete politically and you lose, then you start to throw at us sensational stories, some of them plainly ridiculous. You be the judge. Kinangop parliamentary seat aspirant Amos Chege now says that his challenger, the competitor, Zachary Thuku's victory, had on his part, and this he was saying in court in Nyahururu, that the election was marred with massive irregularities and voter bribery. And here's the clincher. He further goes on to say that his competitor bewitched voters to secure his win.
Amos Chege, the plaintiff, has filed a petition before a high court in Nyahururu with shocking prayers that his competitor in the just concluded election used charms to win the election.
Maybe that man was bewitched because it had riches in it, because once you take that money, you are saying that, oh, I was to elect you, but I was given money, I don't know what to say in my mind, it is, and I don't know how.
He claims that his competitor, Honorable Zachary Thuku's victory, was marred with massive irregularities and voter manipulation, pleading with the High Court to annul his victory in entirety.
Keeping them light at the gate during that particular day of voting, because they know, especially this time, we have got people are hungry. They know 100 shillings means a lot.
So 100 shillings is the price it takes to buy a voter in Kenya.
And this is a trick our opponent have known.
Zachary Thuku's defense battery of lawyers have come out to defend the client, while claiming the petition lacks merit and be thrown away with conjecture.
So far, in my view, I don't think he has made out a case. He has not shown us a single case of bribery. In fact, what we are hearing now is a narrative about some zawadi, a narrative that is obviously tailor-made to fit his narrative, which we believe we shall be able to show is a fabrication in due course.
John Omari, Lookuptv.
Police in Vihiga, is the constituency, have launched an investigation into a violent gang that has been involved in murder and robbery within the county. This now has brought very high the level of insecurity in the area.
Sadness has overflown in the home of the late Hilary Amalemba, a 30-year-old young man who was shot dead by robbers who attacked him at his place of work.
Na hao vile walikuwa wanakuja kutaketi nani Lewis, wachukua colt na pesa, na hiyo pesa walichukua wakachukua colt. Sasa vile huyu kijana alikuja kuwasaidia huyu, ndio walilenga yeye risasi ikapita kwa mlango mpaka kwa yeye.
The dreaded gang is said to have gotten away with a sum of 150,000 shillings and an unknown amount of gold. This case is one of the cases of robbery that have been reported in the areas of Kaimosi, Cheptuli, Makuchi, Shaviringa and other surrounding areas.
This incident is not an isolated incident. We have had similar incidents in several areas. Cheptulu, we have had it. Kaimosi, we have had it. A hotel has been raided using the AK-47 machine gun.
The rise in crime in the area is due to the presence of many people in the area pursuing different activities, including the gold business, and also because there are several education institutions, including Kaimosi University.
Wale machambazi wanakuja usiku, wanaingilia biashara yetu. Hata mimi nimekuwa na hii shida karibu mwaka mmoja, walikuja kwa duka yangu, wakapomoa, wakaenda na vitu. So naomba serikali ya ukatuzi na serikali ya kitaifa mtusaidie hapa ili tufanye biashara yetu bila shida yoyote.
These residents now want the government to intervene as they fear for their lives.
Ni nini inafanyika? AK-47 haiwezi patikana na mtu wa kawaida hapa. Tunataka wale security, NIS, wale intelligence, DCI waingie wachunguze hii maneno, tujue ukweli iko wapi. Na wasipotuambia sisi tunaenda kupiga firimbi. Na tutataka kila mtu atoke so that hata Mheshimiwa Rais RUTO ajue hii maneno.
The area OCPD Ruth Lagat has said that they have beefed up security in the areas prone to these attacks, especially around the university, to ensure safety for the residents.
But we were able to respond immediately and we managed to recover everything. They never went with anything. They just disappeared to the forest. And we followed up. We have our the sniffer dogs.
Grace Mureithi, Lookuptv.
The Senate and the National Assembly may have just found a formula to discover how to write down their rules of engagement. The question has always been, who is senior? And we see how this goes in terms of finding a solution as we look at these and other stories from across the counties.
Kwa hivyo sisi tuna matarajio, mimi hasa niko na imani wataweza kumaliza hayo maneno labda hata wiki hii.
Tug of war of who has more power between the Senate and the National Assembly is a dispute that has led the two houses to take strong positions as the Senate moved to court to oppose some of the laws passed by the National Parliament without being involved.
I don't see a reason why we will not agree. And once this is resolved, then consider that that matter will be a thing of the past. And most bills, actually, I don't see a reason why 90 to 95% of the bills that are considered in the National Assembly will not find their way to the Senate for consideration.
However, the majority leader in the Senate, Aaron Cheruiyot, has said that the national leadership, through President William RUTO and the speakers of both houses of parliament, have planned to resolve the controversy outside the court.
We've made tremendous progress, by the way. As a Senate Business Committee of the Senate, we have laid down what will be our proposal to the to our sister house on what, because as you're aware, we're in the process of entering a consent on the matter that is before the Supreme Court between both houses, the National Assembly and the Senate. As a SBC, we approved last week what we consider to be our terms of the consent. They are not conditions, they are terms to negotiate with, and proposals actually that we've given to our speaker and asked him to negotiate with his colleague from the National Assembly together with his team. So I believe in about a week or two we should bury this issue, enter consent before a court of law.
Elsewhere, Daniel Mutisia, who was conspired to defeat justice by forging the signature of Josephine Mutindi Kidhu, his ex-wife, on a withdrawal letter presented as evidence to Milimani Children's Court, has been arraigned in Nairobi court. Daniel is accused of committing this offense on January 10, 2019 at Dandora Police Station, with Judy Musau and Bernard Malombe being his accomplice. Both Bernard and Judy denied the forgery and abuse of power. Daniel Mutisia denied the fraud charges on October 4, 2021, purporting that the signed document was genuine and valid. Daniel was being charged with attempt to light a gas cooker with a matchbox in an attempt to burn the ex-wife and children who were in the house. Lisa Minor, Lookuptv.
Last week on Monday,